What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Naruto Explain here, bringing you guys another Boruto 2 Blue Vortex discussion. And today I want to pull up a chair and I wanted to talk to you guys about why the latest Boruto manga chapter, chapter 17, it has set the stage for a rather interesting development with Sarada's character, but unfortunately, the thing that has been the subject of conversation amongst fans is the exact opposite of what it should be. The girl who once declared her dream was to become a hokage is now having that dream called into question, and we have fans who have been saying wrongfully that she has been reduced to shipping bait. Join me in today's newest Naruto Explain video, where we're going to look at why Sarada's character, it has not been ruined in the way that people are wrongfully accusing after the last chapter, and why anyone who is only zeroed in on the romantic development of Sarada's potential feelings for Boruto has paid attention to all the wrong things. Now, do not get me wrong. Sarada focusing in on her conversation with Sumire and thinking back to hugging Boruto in a chapter where one of the sub-themes was about the unrealized feelings of love. And even the official trailer for the chapter that V-Jump magazine released, it showed in the lettering that the hidden feelings of the girl, her heart begins to move. The mission to Sunagakure. During the mission, thoughts run through Sarada's mind, and both times it's in reference to Boruto and hugging Boruto. And the lettering chosen in Japanese, it has multiple meanings to it. Because again, Japanese does not translate verbatim into English due to how context heavy it is, because translating from a level 5 language to a level 1 language rooted in love languages always has translation issues due to there not being certain words and phrases that exist in Japanese that exist in our languages. The lettering can be translated as feelings and emotions of a young girl, or feelings of innocent young love, or feelings of a young girl's pure innocent love. But regardless, this rightfully has only added fuel to the fire that Sarada is now the 100 shonen female character who is now only meant to be romantic in terms of nature for how she's used, and that it's going to ruin her character. But I'm trying to say, while that can be true that there could be romance here, it is also important to take note of the fact that this is one of those situations where both things can be true. I disagree if you say her character is being ruined, and here is why. While I have gone on record before the chapter and saying, hey, I believe Sarada is going to have a brief mental nerve because of class rep's words about her feelings of Boruto, and that happened, I don't think it's right to say that she's going to linger on them to the point that she becomes utterly useless in battle. While I originally said that, it was under the assumption that we're gonna get right into a battle, that like the chapters are gonna kick off with a battle where it's like knockdown, drag 'em out fight, sage mode, fire releasing, etc., but that didn't happen. But what we did see is that Sarada's mind, it is being split between the mission and what happened with Sumire, but as the mission has progressed, her mind has locked in where it needed to be. That stays true to her character. She's not going to allow Sumire's words to shake her in that way. She is going to reflect like she has always done, and then she's going to move on to the task at hand, which is their mission now that she's gotten space from that initial funk where she lingered on her emotions. This belief that Sarada's goal suddenly takes a backseat because Sumire is calling her out might have suddenly made her realize that Boruto makes her heart beat a little faster than she's used to, and she starts thinking about what it could be like in a few years to get a season pass to Space Mountain, the longest ride known to man with the longest ride ever. The idea that her original character purpose has taken a back seat is a gross misunderstanding of the narrative. All this Sumire stuff did, and her own desire to protect Boruto, it's only going to strengthen her resolve to become Hokage one day, because it continues to build on how Sarada is the first Uchiha born from a descendant of Indra after this cycle of hatred has been broken amongst transmigrants of Ashura and Indra, and she, for all intents and purposes, is the one with the first true Sharingan because it was not awakened, steeped in hatred and anger like the Uchiha in generations before. Even with her Mangekyo Sharingan where she felt trauma, there is a difference when you compare it to other Mangekyo Sharingans that are awakened. Slight, but there is a difference. Even though emotions she's gonna feel are going to ultimately be anger and hatred, because she is human, she is eventually inevitably going to feel them. You cannot escape them. This is a story giving you multiple layers to a strong female character, and is doing so in a very subtle fashion. We don't need her going through the story saying every 3 seconds, I'm gonna be Hokage, the way that Naruto did. Repetition, it is useful. People hear something enough times and it sticks in their mind. But for someone like Naruto, it had to be used because of the serial pop-up book reader that he was. Nobody for the longest time ever believed that Naruto would be Hokage one day. They looked at him and they said, sure, Naruto, you're gonna be a great Hokage one day. And then all the parents in his class, they looked at their son, they looked at their daughter, and they said, hey, you don't make fun of stupid kids because they can't help themselves. That was never Sarada's journey. She flashed talent from a very early age. If you heard her say in the academy she was going to be the Hokage one day, everybody believed it. And in fact, we saw it. There are people that supported her goal. However, to prove this point, I want to go even deeper here. Not quite as deep as I did with the Sarada video essay from a few months back in April, but let's look at the intention behind the character writing for Sarada. Sarada's goal to become Hokage, it is not compromised by her potential romantic feelings for Boruto, because her ambition, it is rooted in desire for strength and independence and leadership. Her relationship with Boruto, it is framed as a partnership rather than dependency, which is what people are missing. And her romantic development, it is being portrayed as a natural evolution of what started out as a deep friendship. It is not a shift in their primary goals. So let's look at how this dynamic is being sustained here. And let's look at why people that are complaining have definitely gotten this whole situation wrong. Let's start with Sarada's goal to become Hokage being self-driven and not relationship-driven. From the beginning of Boruto, Naruto Next Generations, even in Naruto Gaiden, the 7th Hokage in the Scarlet Spring. So Boruto Part 1 being Ikimoto and Naruto Gaiden being Kishimoto. Sarada's dream to become Hokage, it was clearly established as her own. It was not anything influenced by Boruto. Her admiration for Naruto as the leader of the village is what inspires her, and she takes clear, measurable steps to achieve that goal, such as seeking out training from her parents and challenging herself in battle. This separates her from so many shonen female characters whose motivations shift once romance is introduced. In Boruto Part 1, when Mitsuki suggests, hey Sarada, you got feelings for Boruto, Sarada explicitly says, what does that have to do with me being Hokage? I am paraphrasing, but that's where she got at. This shows that in her mind, her romantic feelings, if they exist, they are compartmentalized and they do not interfere with her life's ambition. Her clarity on this issue, it highlights her emotional maturity. It is a trait often seen in Hokage-like figures. And the fact that so many people say, my favorite character is this Hokage and this Hokage, can't see what's going on with Sarada's character, I'm gonna be blunt, that is very concerning. Now let's get into the next part. Her feelings for Boruto, they emerge naturally from their shared journey. So unlike many shonen female characters who are introduced solely as love interests from the start, or even potential love interests, Sarada's potential feelings for Boruto, they evolve through shared experiences. This is very natural growth. Their relationship, it is grounded in mutual respect and friendship and teamwork. This mirrors the natural way friendships evolve into something more substantial over time. When Sarada blushes after hugging Boruto in Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, it is a moment of self-realization rather than a shift in her priorities. This mirrors real-life examples of people realizing their feelings for close friends. I've been there, and I've been on the opposite end on it. I've been on the opposite end on it to a point where one of them tried to trap me with the whole situation involving a child. Long story. If we ever do podcasts on the channel, I'll tell that story. Importantly, one thing to look at, Sarada does not let this self-reflection distract her from her mission. Her reaction, it is subtle, it is introspective, and it doesn't cause her to change and question her larger purpose. This is different from stereotypical portrayals of female characters who lose sight of their ambitions once romance is introduced. If she has romantic feelings that were awakened in that moment subconsciously, they do not drive her in that they're the only thing that moves her character. That is not applicable here. Sarada also seeks to stand beside Boruto, not behind Boruto. There's this expression in Eastern areas where they say that women should be seen and not heard. This does not apply here. Sarada flips that whole thing on its head. A crucial part of Sarada's development is her goal to be a shinobi strong enough to stand beside Boruto, not just follow him. She isn't a lovesick puppy who says, "It's whatever Boruto-kun wants." She doesn't do that. Her desire to fight alongside him and protect the village, it ties directly into her dream of becoming Hokage. She does not see herself as a mere love interest or as a sidekick. In fact, her words, they echo those characters like Hinata Hyuga, but with a crucial difference. Her words are also followed by decisive action and bold action that is consistent. She trains to be Hokage, not to support Boruto as a romantic partner, not to be recognized by Boruto, and not to eventually win Boruto's heart. If it happens, it happens. But her goal is primarily Hokage, not to get the Uzumaki ramen noodle doodle. This is why Sarada can express feelings for Boruto, potentially in the future, without it derailing her ambitions. Even in this chapter where her mind is all into the hug, she eventually gets herself back in the zone. Her affection or potential affection for him, it does not make her want to support him from the shadows, but rather she wants to lead the front, stand with him, and when the time calls for it, even take the lead, because as a future Hokage, that's what she wants to do. And Boruto is going to have her shadow. The balance of romance and ambition is rarely seen in shonen anime done well, where the female lead story is often submused by her attachment to the male protagonist, where it's damn near indistinguishable. Their romance almost becomes their character itself. That's not the case here. Then we have to now get into the thematic balance of Hokage versus love. It's a healthy model for shonen females if you can really just sit down and think about it and take out your preconceived notions. So many female shonen main characters, they fall into this trap of having their romantic desires overshadow their personal goals. However, Sarada's story, it takes a different route by making it clear that Hokage dream, it is her central motivation. Her feelings for Boruto, if they exist, they are treated as secondary. Even in this chapter, they're ultimately secondary. They're not central to her narrative, even in this chapter. This mirrors the journey of many male protagonists in shonen anime. They are allowed to both pursue power and love, and oftentimes they chase their goals, and in the love aspect, it just falls into the lap wherever needed. For example, Naruto Uzumaki's love for Hinata, it's never seen as something that distracts him from his goal of being Hokage. Instead, his love and his goal, they coexist, and when the time came, Naruto realized his feelings when his Hokage dream was well within his grasp. Sarada, she's following this same model, except she's doing it as a female protagonist, which is rather rare in shonen anime. Let's take another step forward here. Let's look at female shonen characters who balance love and ambition in a way where it does not mess up their character at all. So a strong comparison that you can get with Sarada, a very strong one in my opinion, is Winry Rockbell from Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Winry, she has a personal passion for being a skilled automobile mechanic, and her love for Edward Elric, it never distracts her from that. While she supports Edward emotionally, she continues to develop her technical skills and even runs her own successful business. Her relationship with Ed, it never becomes the driving factor of her character. Just like Sarada and Boruto, that's not a driving factor that is solely the only driving factor for her. Another example of this is Momo Ayase from the series Dawn to Dawn, which just wrapped up season 1. And I got a killer Momo Ayase video essay on my other channel if you want an extensive breakdown on her character. But her romantic feelings for Okarun, they grow naturally, but it does not distract from her character at all. She has a celebrated ability to exist as her own person in the story, very similar to Sarada, who has a goal of becoming Hokage. It exists independently of her relationship with Boruto. Even though you see Boruto and Sarada potentially growing stronger and closer, just as you see Momo and Okarun growing stronger and closer together, the story itself is still moving forward in a way where it does not hurt the female main character's contribution to the story. In conclusion, I'll say this: Sarada Uchiha's potential romantic feelings of Boruto, they are extremely unlikely based on what we've seen with Ikimoto's writing to hinder her goal of becoming Hokage. Her desire to lead the village, it is rooted very deeply in her admiration for Naruto and her personal sense of responsibility. Her potential feelings of Boruto, They come from a natural progression of friendship, not an immediate shift to romantic focus, as seen with other shonen female characters. Sarada's line to Mitsuki, again, I'm paraphrasing, which is basically, my feelings for Boruto have no impact on me wanting to be Hokage. We gotta get strong enough to fight Otsutsuki. What are we wasting time talking about this stuff for? It is one of the clearest signs that separates her personal ambition from any potential relationships. Again, when you use relationships that you see with characters with Winry Rockbell and Momo ISA, they demonstrate that it is possible for shonen female characters to balance love and ambition. By following this model, which Sarada is doing, Sarada is poised to be one of the rare female leads in shonen that have a story that does not compromise strength and leadership and personal growth. If you want to learn more about Momo ISA, strongly recommend clicking here to watch that video essay from my Anime Explained channel, which is safe for anime-only viewers of Don to watch. And over here on the left, we have the Boruto chapter review for those you guys who have not seen that video just yet.